The stone is still sealed. The guards stand watch. The city is silent. But deep beneath the stillness, something is stirring. The tomb that was meant to hold death forever is about to break open with a power no empire, no council, and no army can stop. The world believes the story has ended, but in truth, the greatest chapter is just about to begin. Season 6 of The Chosen is not only about betrayal, trials, and the cross, it is about the dawn of resurrection, the moment that will change history forever. The weight of Season 6 begins in the aftermath of the crucifixion. Darkness has already fallen, not just over the land, but over the hearts of those who loved Jesus most. The disciples are scattered, broken, and hiding in fear. Their teacher, their friend, the one they believed would bring a kingdom of light, has been executed before their eyes. For them, it feels like the end of hope itself. The city of Jerusalem buzzes with whispers, some mocking, some uneasy. Everyone has heard what happened, the trial, the cross, the hours of darkness in the middle of the day, the violent shaking of the earth, and the temple curtain torn in two. Even those who never followed him cannot shake the feeling that something extraordinary has taken place. And yet, the body of Jesus lies sealed inside a tomb, guarded by Roman soldiers, determined to silence the story once and for all, but silence is deceptive. For inside that cold tomb, history is waiting for its turning point. The disciples cannot see it, Mary cannot feel it, and the crowds cannot imagine it, but the plan of God is not finished. Season 6 pulls us into these long, haunting hours where grief and despair weigh heavier than the stone itself. We see Peter tormented by his denial, replaying every word he failed to stand on. We see John clinging to Mary, torn between his own sorrow and his duty to protect her. We see Thomas drowning in doubt, refusing to believe that anything good can come after such tragedy. And Judas, consumed by the unbearable cost of his betrayal, fades into the shadows of despair. Every follower of Jesus is caught in a storm of questions. Was it all a lie? Were the miracles just illusions? And if he was truly the Messiah, why did God allow this to happen? The brilliance of this season is not just in retelling what we already know, but in making us feel the unbearable silence that followed the cross. The tension is not in the action, but in the waiting. For the disciples, it is the longest Sabbath of their lives, a day filled not with worship, but with suffocating grief. Behind locked doors, their whispers are filled with fear. At every sound in the street, they flinch, terrified the same fate will find them next. They dare not hope. They dare not speak of resurrection, because to them, it feels impossible. And yet, the impossible is exactly what is coming. The guards at the tomb do not know it. The priests and rulers of the council do not expect it. Even Rome itself, with all its power and might, has no defense for it. The very heavens are holding their breath as time edges closer to the morning when everything will change. And this is where Season 6 draws its power, not only from the pain of the crucifixion, but from the suspense of knowing what lies just beyond the stone. As viewers, we wait with the disciples, sharing their grief, but also holding on to the secret. They cannot yet see that the story is not over. The grave is not the end. And the silence of the tomb is only the prelude to the greatest triumph the world has ever known. The dawn of the third day breaks quietly, almost unnoticed. The city of Jerusalem stirs awake, unaware that history is about to shift forever. The guards at the tomb stand firm, their torches burning low, their eyes heavy from hours of watch. To them, this is just another assignment, another order to carry out. But in the unseen, something is building. The air feels charged, the ground seems restless, and creation itself waits for a moment that will split time in two. Then it happens. The silence of the tomb is shattered. A tremor shakes the earth. Light breaks through the darkness in a way no one can comprehend. The stone that sealed death begins to move, not by human hands, not by the strength of soldiers, but by the power of heaven itself. The guards, hardened men of Rome, tremble in terror, their courage failing as they fall like dead men before the brilliance that descends. And from within the tomb, the impossible becomes reality. Death loosens its grip. Breath returns where it should not. The one who was broken now rises in glory. The resurrection is not just an event, it is the moment where eternity breaks into time, but The Chosen Season 6 does not rush past this. It lingers on the disbelief, the confusion, the wonder. Mary Magdalene, broken and weeping at the tomb, hears a voice she thought she would never hear again. Mary. One word is enough to undo her grief, enough to turn tears of sorrow into tears of joy. She becomes the first witness to the risen Christ, the first to see what no eye had ever seen before. In that moment, despair turns to hope, and silence gives way to proclamation. The stone was not just rolled away from the tomb, it was rolled Away from human hearts, opening the way to a hope that can never be sealed again. For the disciples, the news is too much to take in. When Mary runs to them with the impossible announcement, they struggle to believe her. Grief has hardened their hearts. Peter and John run to the tomb, desperate for answers, only to find the linen cloths left behind, folded neatly, as if death itself had been defeated with calm authority. Yet even as they stand in the empty tomb, they cannot fully grasp what it means. Doubt and hope wrestle inside them. Could it really be true? Could the man they saw crucified now be alive again? Season 6 captures this tension, the fragile line between despair and belief. Thomas, ever the skeptic, refuses to accept it. Unless I see the marks in his hands, he says, I will not believe. His words echo the doubts of every human heart. But when the risen Jesus stands before him, inviting him to touch the wounds, doubt collapses into awe. Thomas falls to his knees, his disbelief transformed into the clearest declaration of faith, my Lord and my God. And this is the power of the resurrection. It does not erase the wounds, it redeems them. The scars remain, but they no longer speak of defeat, they speak of victory. For every disciple, the resurrection is not just proof that Jesus lives, it is proof that death has been conquered, that their mission is not over, but only just beginning. Fear turns to courage. Silence turns to testimony. And a group of scattered, broken men and women become the witnesses through whom the world will come to know the truth. That as Season 6 draws toward its close, the story will not end in despair but in commissioning. The risen Christ does not simply return to comfort his followers, he sends them out. Go into all the world, he commands, and proclaim the good news. What began in the shadows of a garden and seemed to end on a cross now bursts forth as a movement that no power on earth can silence. The disciples who once hid behind locked doors will soon stand boldly in the streets, declaring that Jesus is alive. And nothing, not Rome, not fear, not even death itself, will be able to stop them. Season 6 of The Chosen promises to give us not only the pain of the cross, but the glory of the resurrection. It will take us through betrayal, trials, denial, and despair, but it will not leave us there. It will lead us to the empty tomb, to the voice that calls us by name, and to the hope that has carried through every century since. This is not just the conclusion of a season, it is the beginning of everything. The resurrection looms, and with it, the promise that death is not the end, but the doorway to life everlasting.